Thank you. That was a very, very good introduction. You can probably tell that I wrote that myself, some of the things that were being said. So thank you for that. I'm going to talk to you, as was mentioned in the introduction, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about information management in the apparel supply chain, and specifically about product data management and product lifecycle management systems, and how those systems themselves can actually help you provide a differentiated edge with your customers. I'm just going to run through a few things. I won't bother talking about who I am because I think it's already a very good job has been done on that. We'll talk a bit about product data management, product lifecycle management systems, what they are, what they can do, why these systems are becoming critical for the industry. They're not becoming just add-ons now. These are things that customers want to see and want to be able to use to collaborate with their suppliers. We'll look about where your data is now. How are you holding your data now? Where is it? Spread all over the place? And how you manage your workflow and your critical path to actually get product development through to delivery on time. And then finally, I'll have a quick look at the benefits and the justifications of the systems. And I think at the end, then, we'll do summary and questions. Okay, what is PDM and PLM? Well, PDM is Product Data Management. And what this is a specific piece of software for managing the information to specify your garment products. So whereas you might tell me now, okay, we know all this. We know how our garments are made. We know what the garment looks like. That information is usually placed in many, many diverse areas, maybe spreadsheets and databases. What this system does is brings that information together in one place and makes it accessible for people. So everybody has the same view of the product. Everybody sees the most up-to-date information, and it's accessible to anybody who needs it. Product lifecycle management extends that software and helps manage the processes that go through the product development process. So where we start with a concept, an idea in the design area, and we move through into actually specifying the product, ready for the customer, for sampling and actually getting into production, the product lifecycle management tool, software, will help you manage those activities and the processes that go on. It helps with supply chain collaboration and workflow and critical path. So this is a workflow-driven product information management tool, and is becoming more and more relevant to companies and to countries that want to provide their customers with not only a manufacturing or a CMT facility, but want to be providing design information. We saw a fantastic fashion show this morning, and I'm sure that the college has systems that they use. Maybe they use Adobe systems or they use CAD system. But do they have a tool that brings all that information together? This is what these systems do. So we can do things like layouts and sketches and storyboards and concept boards. We have drawing tools. We can manage the workflow critical path, the time and action calendars. So you can see at any time, have we got our material coming on time? Has our material been ordered? Are the accessories on time? Has the sample been approved? Has the customer done their job and given us the approval to move forward on this? Where are we in the critical path? Where are we in the time and action calendar as we develop our garments ready for manufacture? Are we on time or are we going to be late? I used to work for a UK company many years ago, and one of my jobs was to manage the date which we actually got into production. And I started, as Mr. Ranji mentioned earlier, I started by measuring how often we actually achieved the date that we set at the beginning. We said at the beginning of a development process to our customer, we're going to hit this date for manufacturing. And when I actually started measuring it, we hit that date 20% of the time. So only 20% of the time the manufacturing people could start because the development process expanded out. So this tool will help manage that. We started to implement one of these systems, and as we went through the development process and we placed this in place, we got up to 83% on time startup for manufacture. I'm sure those of you who are running factories will appreciate the fact that you probably are continually asking, when am I going to get the information? When can I start making? And it gets pushed back and back and back and back, and the customer's saying, well, you said you were going to deliver on this date. That's the date I still want it. and you get squeezed at the end of the process into making, instead of maybe you have 4 weeks, maybe having 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 1 week, and then working very inefficiently or overtime and all the rest of it. So these systems can kind of do all these kind of things. The elements of the system. Essentially, these systems are database-driven tools. So you have fabric database, trim database, accessory database, packing materials. We can bring images in, CAD images, photos, scanned images, style specification data, bill of materials, measurement charts, how to measure charts. The number of times I've looked at technical sketches and people are measuring garments, and I say, well, why are you measuring there? And they go, well, that's what we were told, but it's all coming out too small, or it's all coming out too big. So, well, wait a minute, where's the how to measure sketch? Well, we haven't got one of those. We were just told. This defines all of that data, pattern data, costing data, costing. As you, at the moment, maybe you have a separate costing department that actually will take all the information and at some point in the process says, right, okay, let me collate everything and I'll tell you what the cost's going to be, and then you can tell the customer. With these systems, as you put a fabric in place, the information is drawn into that style and will add into the costing. So as you build, as the designers build a particular style and a particular styling, you can get a costing, an idea costing. And that provides all kind of benefits. All these things go into the PDM system, operational information. And we get out of it style specifications, style books, information, costing data, time and action checklists, workflow actions. Who's supposed to make that happen on what date? Now, these systems are becoming critical to support lean and agile processes. As we move into fast retailing, H&M, Zara, Primark, Uniqlo, all these fast retailers, they don't want a development process that takes a year. They don't want it that takes 6 months. They want every month to be placing new product into their stores. Every month for their people, for their customers to come in and say, oh yeah, I didn't see that. I'm going to buy one of those. And if it doesn't sell, they want it to go. Clear it out. Get rid of it. And don't make any more. Make something different, but maybe with the same base fabrics, the same base materials and accessories. So these systems help support lean and agile processes to get product to market faster and reduce product cost. It's all about time-based competition now. First to market's winning. So how much time can we actually remove from the process timeline if we have the correct and up-to-date data and it's accessible wherever we need it, when we need it? I want you to imagine that table from the start to the end is the product development process to where you get into manufacture. And I'll tell you now, from the initial concept and design ideas, this is how much time manufacturing has. That's how much of the process time before delivery the manufacturer has to actually make it. The rest is all in development, all in sourcing, all in finding the information, all in putting the costings and getting the sampling and getting the approvals. So if you can minimize that and start to pull that together, how much are you going to save? How much can you save out of your manufacturing time? A day, 2 days, 3 days, a week? How much could you save out of a 3 or 4 month development process? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Then you're really starting to push it, pull it all together. And these systems support that. More current issues, we've already heard about economic conditions changing rapidly. 1 week we're in recession, the next week everything's wonderful. Buy more now? No. Don't buy any. We can't afford it? Yes, we will. Prices can go up, prices got to come down. We know that retailers don't want to overbuy. They always want to be underbuying a little bit and then asking for more. Oh, that's selling. How can you get me more? Get me more now. That's selling. Where's the replenishment stock? We know we want localized merchandise offerings. I think one of the speakers this morning mentioned that India's a great market. India's a big market, and yet we're not exploiting it here. Great. Localized merchandise offerings. But even if you're exporting to the Middle East, you need different labels and packaging. If you're exporting to different countries, USA, to the UK, you need different information on your labels and packaging. Everything's just a little bit changed and needs controlling. How do you control it now? We have increasingly complex regulatory environments. Ecotex, certifications. We have RAP, social compliance. We've already been talking about social compliance this afternoon. How do we control all those things? How do we make sure that we're up to date with all those things? These systems can help with that. So where's your data now? Do you know where your data is now? You have it in one system? You have it in multiple systems? How many people have a copy of the same information? How many people type in a copy on their computer of the same information? How many times do we do the same thing again and again? Document, spreadsheet, CAD system, local database, email systems. Oh. CC. How many people get CC? Oh, we've all got a copy now of this information, so we store it on our computer. But then, oh yeah, that's wrong now, it's changed. But I CC everybody again, only I forgot 3 people. So they've got the old data now. Suddenly they're ordering the wrong material, the wrong specification, the wrong price cost. Printouts, filing cabinets, text messages now. With the PLM system, we bring all that together. So we have a nice friendly computer man who sits there and says, hey, it's all here, it's all in me, just come and click. You want to know about a style? You want to know what the costing is? Just click in here, look at the style data. You want to see a technical sketch, you want to see the fabrics, the accessories, you want to know anything about that style, you go to one place. And it's correct, it's up to date. Because the people who are inputting the data into this system have been told they have responsibility. Purchasing team, you must keep the fabric prices up to date. Nobody else is going to do it, only you. Fabric technology, you must keep the fabric information up to date. So people all have their responsibilities with these systems, and it will draw that information together and keep it accessible and up to date. We can get the information anywhere. We design in the UK, we design in America, we design in India, we design in Sri Lanka, we design in Indonesia. We design anywhere. And then we get materials from China, we get materials from India, we manufacture in Vietnam, we manufacture in Cambodia, we manufacture in Turkey, and then we sell it in the USA, or we sell it in the UK. How do we get everybody to see the same information? You have to have a centralized database system. The other danger with all this global working is that you get inbuilt time delays. Here, I used to do some work with the USA in my last job, in my last work in Vietnam. And they didn't start. I couldn't get in touch with them until 12 o'clock at night. So if I needed to get some information, I had to stay up till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning to call them. What about this? Is this right? Is this wrong? What's going on? This information should have been available to me anytime, anywhere. Let's have a look at some screens quickly. Okay. When you enter one of these systems, probably the first thing you'll see is a list of all the styles. And you can sort that information, and you can look at it. You can look at it by customer, by season, by product type, by range. We can do lines and portfolios, whatever we need to do. And once you've looked into that screen, you want to drill down into a particular style. You can get summary information. So you can see a picture, maybe not a technical sketch as we've got here, but you can also see photographs, scanned images. You can see the fabrics that go into that garment, the accessories. You can see the descriptions in the background. You can see the method data, the costing data. The fabrics held in a database in the background can just be dragged and dropped onto a style. So we only input the fabric data once, potentially, and then just update it. You don't have to have it input in one system, input in another system, input in another system. It's input one place, so it's controlled. And you drag it and drop it onto your style. Now, we know retailers want to start cutting back on discounted merchandise. And one way they'll do that, and one way we can use excess stocks and excess materials, is to redesign. We've got the design talent, obviously, here in India. I've seen it this morning. So we can redesign the garments using the same base materials, the same accessories, but use the tool. So we can see fabric information, we can see what kind of fabrics we've got, whether it's finished, greige, what's the finishing process, all the kind of data. We can have a look at the technical side of things. I mentioned how to measure drawings. We can have a grading table brought in from the CAD systems. So we have how to measure, where to measure, what exactly is the correct way of measuring this garment, the technical sketch. So we can see behind the technical sketch, what's the method of operation? How do we break down the labor operations? So we can see a method specification. And behind each of these descriptions, we can go down even further and see more detail if we want. Yeah. We can bring in marker information so we can see the usages. How are we doing? Again, we mentioned this morning about the garment is 50 to 70% of the garment cost is in material. So if we get the best use of that material, or the best markers, then we should be sharing that information. But how do we share it with everybody? Not everybody has a CAD system. So put it into this system. Let them access it. We can access this on the internet. You can go through a web browser, set off Internet Explorer, get a login, go see the information. And all that information builds up into a style costing. So we don't have to have a separate department who's staled. Oh, yes, we'll input all this information. Oh, purchasing. How much is it purchasing? How much is the fabric? Oh, accessories. How much is it in for the accessories? Oh, labor. Industrial engineers. How much is it for the, what's the SMV? Okay, I'll give you the information in 2 days. No, it's built up as we go along. We build a method. We build the fabric information, the data information. The costing automatically is generated through those databases. How do you manage your critical path? How do you manage your critical path? How do you make sure that you're starting manufacturing on time? How do you make sure your sample is approved on time? How do you make sure your fabric and materials are approved on time? How do you make sure your lab dyes are approved on time? I'll tell you now, print and embroidery and lab dyes are probably the 3 things that will hold up your product development process the most, getting those 3 things approved. So if you focus on those, you probably take 2 weeks out of the process straight away. But with this system, we have workflow data. So we have a list of actions. When should that happen? If I want to achieve this date, when have all these other things got to happen? Am I doing it on time? Who's responsible for making it happen? Send them an email. Automatically, the system generates a list of activities. You must do this by this date if we're going to achieve this end delivery the customer wants. So workflow-driven actions and critical paths, time and action calendars, with messaging and checklist templates. So we can see a nice graph. Okay, it's on time, it's not on time. We've achieved. Some of the benefits then, we've talked a little bit about the benefits already as we've gone through this, but product quality. If you know exactly how to make your garment, if you know exactly the method specification, if you know the right fabrics and the right data, your product quality is going to improve. Less mistakes. We reduce lost sales through less remakes and through less late deliveries. We have a central database of information, and through that we can have high visibility of information. Not only what the information is, but when we should be taking action on that information. We can reduce the product lead time. And that is going to be one of the big things. If you can go to your customer and say, I can get you product within 3 weeks, do you think they're going to be impressed? I think they're going to be impressed. When I worked with the MAS factory in Turley, we had a cut-to-box time. So when the fabric arrived in the factory in the morning, we could spread it, cut it, put it through the sewing team, pack it, and it was in the warehouse in less than 1 working day. Less than 1 working day. And the benefit of that was when the customer came and visited, I said, well, you tell us what you want. You tell us how your sales are going. Because I can stop this size and I can run another size. I can stop this color and make another color. I can stop this product completely and make another product. And I can do it in a day. So you tell me how your sales are going and I can respond to that. With these systems, we have controlled data entry points. So your fabric people are entering fabric data. Not somebody who doesn't know anything about fabric. Oh, it's 100% cotton, I think. Maybe it's polyester. I'm not sure. Your fabric people enter the data. Your accessory people enter the data. The purchasing team enter the data. Everybody has a specific responsibility, and it's entered by experts. We eliminate all that extra repetition of entry. So as I said before, everybody typing the same data into their own systems, gone. We've got 24/7 access anywhere in the world. We've got costing data. We can even use the costing data to evaluate what would happen if we change something. So this fabric's too expensive from this manufacturer. What if we brought in this fabric instead? Okay. Now we're into the right costing region. And we can do that like that, not wait 2 days for the purchasing people to get information and the costing team to build it all again. Straight away, just check it. We can track changes to products, cost implications. We can integrate with other systems, feed the information to ERP, feed the information to CAD systems, bring the information in from those systems. We can redesign slow-moving product quickly. Imagine if you have this kind of system, how quick it's going to be to say, okay, we'll take that slow-moving product and we'll redesign it. We'll use the same fabric, the same accessories. We'll just design something slightly different. Long sleeve, short sleeve, V-neck, round neck. We'll just change it a bit. We'll give you that, see how that sells. So we have the justifications of product development time reducing, the cycle. You know, the founder of the Toyota production system, Taiichi Ohno, he said that all we should be trying to do is reduce the time from when the customer gives us the order to the time when we get the money back in. We want to be shrinking that time. So the cash flow improves, and the cash flow improves, the profit improves. And we do that by taking wastes out of the system. We shrink that time using tools like this. So we're not searching for information and data. We're not losing a day here and there because we're waiting for information from the other side of the world. We reduce our cost of sampling. We reduce our quality issues costs. We reduce work repetition. It's fine having record keepers and data entry clerks, but if you've got them doing the same thing in 10 different places, then it's your money. You're paying for it. The Institute for Operations Research and Management Sciences said that retailers that use improvements in information technology to shorten the time it takes to produce and deliver a product can realize an average 22% savings in the supply chain cost. 22%. Not insignificant. You're trying to save a few seconds out of somebody's work time, you can save 22% out of your supply chain. Okay. Product data management systems used to store, control product specification data, to communicate product information across supply chain partners, to share that information, to reduce time for data entry, to make information accessible when you need it, where you need it. Product lifecycle management systems use workflow to drive actions and activities to make sure things happen on time, when you need it to happen, to get into production on time, to get delivery on time. They monitor the build-up of the product data management information to make sure the product's developing as you need it to. You build the costs. You can have higher line views and portfolio views, and you can have what-if options to be evaluated. That's what I'm talking to you about today. Product data management, product lifecycle management. It's probably an area that you haven't yet got into, but you need to start thinking about it. It needs to be in your mind, because very soon people are going to start saying, how quickly can you make a new product for me? I don't want it in 6 months. I want it in 4 weeks, from when I give you the design to when you deliver it to me. Thank you.